The teams are in for the All-Ireland quarter-final clashes of Clare against Waterford and Tipperary against Galway. We'll jump straight to it, I should say, and that's the Clare versus Waterford teams. Just looking at Clare, first of all, Eibhear Quilligan is in goals. Rory Hayes, Conor Cleary and Patrick O'Connor make up the full back line. Stephen O'Halloran, Aidan McCarthy and Shane Amori are the half backs. In midfield, Jason McCarthy and Tony Kelly. Then the half forward line, as ever, Cathal Malone, David Reedy and David Fitzgerald, and the full forward line of Shane O'Donnell, Colin Guilfoyle and Ryan Taylor. So from that you can see David McInerney is not named to start here. He's suspended the last day. Wouldn't be 100% sure that he wouldn't start this game. It would seem a highly unusual move to not start one of your most experienced and possibly high quality players. Aaron Shanahan is there on the bench as well, where you would expect that he could get called up as well. So I wouldn't be 100% convinced that this is the team that will start the next day. Diarmuid Ryan has come on in a couple of games. Maybe he'd be looked at too. But I think that you're probably going to look at David McInerney coming in here at somewhere into the starting team. And the big kind of question is, where would he come in? And I would have expected it'll be somewhere in the half back line. Aidan McCarthy has played in wing back before, so maybe that could mean Shane Amori dropping into the full back line. It could mean he could go out midfield like Jason McCarthy and Tony Kelly. Like Tony Kelly's not going to play midfield realistically. So maybe it will actually be David McInerney in midfield. The thing about that, there's a lot of flexibility in a lot of those players there. Like they're going to flood the middle area. Cathal Malone will be out there. Shane O'Donnell may be out there a little bit. Ryan Taylor's the one you could probably guarantee is probably going to be inside. And then Colin Guilfoyle, he's a big man, he's a target man. He could play inside or he could play in the half forward line. So there's a good size profile to some of this Clare forward line. In the past, you might wonder, too often did they have too many small nippy forwards. And while they have a few of those, they definitely have a bit of size that can come in there, especially if Shanahan was to start. And if you were to throw McInerney into the back line, he's a bit of a pig himself. And I mean that in the best possible way, as anyone who's interested in their GA will know. The Waterford team, that shows only one change from the Munster final defeat to Limerick last week, and that's Ian Kenny, who came on for Shane Fives, who injured what looked like his quad or something, somewhere on his thigh anyway. He comes into the corner back line, obviously very experienced player of Ballygunner and quite a good player. Other than that, Conor Prunty is full back in front of Stephen O'Keefe, the goalkeeper, and Shane McNulty, who really grew into that game the last day against Limerick. He's in the full back line. Calum Lyons, I've actually been corrected a few times now and had forgot to correct myself. I'd been saying Callum Lyons, but it's Calum Lyons. I've been corrected a few times in the YouTube comments, so we'll go with that. He's in the half back line alongside Ty de Burka and Kevin Moore. And as I predicted in the hurling show, which if you didn't see, you'll find it there on the YouTube channel, I was predicting that Lyons might pick up Tony Kelly and go everywhere he goes. Jamie Barron and Jake Dillon named at midfield again. Jack Fagan, Kieran Bennett and Stephen Bennett in the half forward line, albeit expect Stephen Bennett to play full forward. Desi Hutchinson, Austin Gleeson and Jack Prendergast. And you could argue that Prendergast was the most impactful of the forwards the last day. Plenty of people were shouting for Stephen Bennett to be in the team of the week, and I didn't go for him. But if I was going to pick an inside forward or a forward from that Waterford team, it was probably more likely going to be Prendergast for me. So that's the teams between Clare and Waterford, and I'd be very interested to know if that kind of shapes people's opinions on how they think that particular match will go. So now we'll jump on next to the teams for Tipperary and for Galway. Starting off with Galway, Éanna Murphy retains his place in goal, and obviously he'll be very eager to atone for that mistake last weekend that allowed Richie Hogan in for a crucial goal. Full backline sees Aidan Hart promoted back into the team. He came on for Sean Loftus the last day and he's going to start there this time. Dahi Burke, who's just back from a calf injury, he retains his place, and obviously he would. There was never any question over that. And Shane Cooney, who's quite good in the air and on the floor, of course, as we've seen with both St. Thomas's and with the county, he stays in the corner back line. Fintan Burke, he's still obviously injured himself against Wexford. He was okay to play the last day and he's okay again. Grode McInerney playing at number 6, and Joseph Cooney, he's no longer wearing a forwards number, or well, he's actually don't think he did last day either. But anyway, he wears the number 7 jersey, so that's your half back line. Now, Pádraig Mannion is named at number 8 alongside Johnny Cohen at midfield. The question here is, will Pádraig Mannion play as a sweeper as he did the last day? And I think that really kind of gave the impetus to Kilkenny, and I think Galway shot themselves in the foot a little bit. Now, if the two of those do play midfield, that's two native defenders in between the 265. So whether it's a good or a bad thing, I'll let you decide yourself. But the question is, who picks up Noel McGrath, who picks up Michael Breen after his point score in the last day. But there's plenty of hurling and plenty of energy in that Galway midfield if that's how they line out. Now, it could actually be David Burke, who of course was the captain in 2017. Maybe he'll go out to the middle of the field. He's named here, and you could easily kind of look at this team and make a case for an idea of playing a sweeper yet again. Now, maybe that's the way Shane O'Neill is just going to go. He probably knows in many ways they created enough to win the game against Kilkenny, but just left it behind them with poor shooting. So maybe he'll just double down and say, in general, we're playing the way I want us to play, and we're going to put David Burke midfield. He came on and scored 2 points against Kilkenny. We know what a leader he is and a really good player he is. Maybe we'll stick with Pádraig Mannion as the sweeper in front of the full back line. Maybe they're worried about Seamus Callan. Maybe not. Maybe they'll play orthodox. We'll wait and see. Joe Canning has been named at number 10, Cathal Mannion number 11, and then the inside line you've Brian Kincannon, Conor Cooney and Conor Whelan. So that means Niall Burke is after dropping out of the team, which probably isn't a huge shock because it didn't really happen for him the last day. So that's the teams for for Galway, who were beaten by Kilkenny. And the Tipperary team is Brian Hogan in goal. It's an unchanged team. It's Brian Hogan, Cathal Barrett, Ronan Maher, Alan Flynn, the full back line. Niall O'Meara, Brendan Maher and Pádraig Maher, so 4 out of the 6 backs are Mahers. Noel McGrath and Michael Breen, I call him Dan Breen, I had written on the team of the week, of course, bit of a freedom fighter thought with the 100 years in it in Tipperary and all that, maybe on my mind. Dan McCormick, John McGrath and Patrick Bonner Maher, and Jason Ford, Seamus Callan and Jake Morris. Now, Ford came off with a bit of a niggly injury at the end of the Cork game, but he's obviously been deemed okay to start. Bonner Maher I thought was quite good, especially in that first half against Cork, winning ball. John McGrath had a tough time and was taken off before half time. So this is Liam Sheedy showing faith in him, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him starting in on the square. I know it's 4 years ago now, but just his ability in the air and seeing him snapping a couple of balls over Daithí Burke, and Daithí Burke could just as easily do it to John McGrath given his quality, but maybe there'll be something along the lines of seeing John McGrath in the full forward line. Wouldn't be shocked. Like, you'd want to keep Seamus Callan close to goal, of course, but maybe it'll just be a case of mixing it up. But that remains to be seen. So that is the teams there. And what sort of matchups are we going to see? I expect Pádraig Maher to go on Joe Canning. We'll see how that pans out, because you expect Joe Canning to sort of roam but play in the half forward line. Maybe he'll go into the inside line, have a killer closer to goal. But I see Pádraig Maher matching up with him. I see Johnny Cohn looking to buzz around off Michael Breen and use his legs to keep with him, and maybe Davy Burke trying to take Noel McGrath the other way, but it remains to be seen there. Pádraig or Grode McInerney, will he match up with Bonner Maher, or will Tipperary look to play someone who'll float off him? Maybe even Jake Morris use that pace running up through the centre as he did the last day. So those are the teams. Those are just a couple of initial thoughts, and we'll see how things pan out. But please let me know what you think of those teams.